besties! So, unfortunately, Riri is not able to join us today as well, as she's having her exams next week, which I thought for the longest time was going to be the week after. However, I was wrong. So, most probably, Riri would be done her exams by June 30th, or maybe July 1st. Oh no, not July 1st. Who am I kidding? July 1st is a holiday. You see, guys, I'm already losing brain cells before I even head on to 4th year. Anyways, so we'll hope that Riri is able to join us in the future episodes. However, for now, you guys are stuck with me. Now, quick question before we start today's episode. Would you rather miss a deadline or miss your peace of mind? Now think about that for a second, because apparently in today's world, those two are the only, and I mean the only, two options. You have assignments due, projects due, exams coming up like Riri, work shifts scheduled like me, family expectations, social obligations, and somehow you're still expected to drink 8 glasses of water, sleep for 8 hours, exercise, journal, meditate, and become the best version of yourself. Like, at this point, being a functioning human being feels like a full-time job within itself. So today, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest debates students and adults face every single day. Should mental health come before deadlines? Or are deadlines simply a responsibility we have to learn to manage? And for those of you who haven't seen our Instagram post already that I made on Monday, I put up a quiz time. And the question was, 70% of mental health challenges stem from which age group? Now the options are adolescence and childhood, adolescence and adulthood, young adults, or childhood. Now I'll give you a second to think about that. And for those of you who have locked in their answers, either let us know in the comments from the post itself, or you can even let us know in the Spotify comments or the YouTube comments, from whichever you're listening to. Now, ready for the answer? The answer is adolescence and childhood. Did you know that literally 70% of you guys watching are facing mental health challenges right now? That is scary to think about, if I'm going to be completely honest. And now, just to recognize these people, the 70%, or maybe even the 100% of people that are facing stress, let's go into the compliment of the day before we get into today's episode. So, guys, I was thinking, you know how your phones start glitching when there's too many apps running at once? Well, somehow you've got school, work, friendships, family drama, random 2 a.m. thoughts, and about 17 different worries running into your brain at the same time. And yet, you guys are still functioning. And we're not going to ask too many questions, but my point is, you are doing way better than you think you are. Life has been throwing side quests at you non-stop, and you're still finding a way to keep moving forward. And that deserves recognition. So, what do I mean by this? You're stronger, smarter, and more capable than your stress sometimes lets you believe. And that's something nobody can take away from you. And now to get into today's agenda, we will go over a little story. Then I will look at both sides of the argument, and since I can't really do a debate style, I will just go over both sides. And then I'll go over some hot takes, share a story from our fellow users, and finally, my final verdict at the very end of the episode. And please do not forget to follow our socials and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now let's jump into my experience with balancing mental health and deadlines. A few months ago, when I was in my winter semester, I remember having one of those weeks where everything seemed to happen at once. I had assignments due back to back, messages piling up, things to prepare for, and a million reminders sitting on my phone. And every time I opened my laptop, I just felt exhausted. Not lazy, not unmotivated, just mentally drained. But the problem was that the deadlines didn't even care. The assignment portal wasn't just going to suddenly say, "Hey Kiki, you seem stressed. Take a week off." Nope. The due date stayed exactly where it was. And that's what made me start thinking, should people push through those moments, or should they prioritize their mental health and step back when needed. Because honestly, both sides make some really good points. Now, for the first side, mental health should come first. The biggest argument here is pretty simple. You can't perform your best when you're mentally exhausted. Think about it. When you're burnt out, stressed, anxious, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained, everything suddenly becomes harder. Studying becomes harder. Working becomes harder. Concentrating becomes harder. Even simple tasks start feeling impossible. And eventually, if you keep pushing yourself without taking care of yourself, burnout catches up. It's like a driving car with an empty gas. You might keep moving for a little while, but eventually you're going to stop. Supporters of this side say that taking a break isn't being irresponsible. It's maintenance. Nobody questions charging their phone. Nobody questions sleeping at night. So why do people need to feel guilty for taking care of their minds? Some people even argue that society has become way too obsessed with productivity. We're constantly told to work harder, study harder, do more, achieve more, but nobody talks enough about protecting your energy. Because success doesn't mean much if you're miserable the entire way there. And now let's go on to the other side where deadlines still matter. People who support deadlines argue that responsibilities don't disappear just because we're stressed. And honestly, they're not entirely wrong. Life is full of deadlines. School has deadlines. Jobs have deadlines. Bills have deadlines. Applications, appointments, all have deadlines. And at some point, we all have to learn how to manage pressure. Because if we constantly delay things whenever we're overwhelmed, problems can actually get bigger. The assignments don't disappear. Also, work doesn't disappear. Sometimes delaying things simply creates even more stress later. People on this side also say that discipline is important. There will be days where motivation isn't there. There will be days when you don't feel like working. And learning how to complete responsibilities anyway is a skill that helps throughout life. Their argument isn't that mental health doesn't matter. It's that responsibilities matter too. And the challenge is learning how to balance both. Now, let's get into hot takes. Riri's favorite time. Anyways, schools love promoting mental health awareness until an assignment extension is involved. And now, I'm just saying, everyone says take care of yourself until the due date shows up. Then suddenly, it's every student for themselves. And if I'm going to be completely honest, when it comes to deadlines, and say, okay, I didn't do a paragraph or two, then maybe I would support the extension. However, it is true that some teachers try to stress that extensions would just waste time. Which, they're not wrong. However, some people have other things to worry about too. So I think maybe if students are really emphasizing the extension, I think it's for a specific reason. It's not always that they're too lazy to do work. It may be other things too. Just putting that out there. You let me know what you guys think. Anyways, hot take number 2, being busy is not a personality trait. And some people act like being overwhelmed is a competition. If your first response to how are you is always I'm so busy, we need to have a conversation. I mean, honestly, I am that type of person too, I'm not gonna lie. However, you can't be busy all the time. You gotta give yourself a break. Come on, guys. Like, if half of your responses are I'm so busy, it's either you don't really like the person and you want to avoid the person at all costs, or there's something genuinely wrong on why you're constantly busy. Unless it's work purposes. If it's work purposes, then that's totally fine. You can be busy all the time. However, try not to overwork yourself. Try to talk to somebody, or maybe give yourself mental health breaks now and then. For maybe as long as 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes of your time. Just like breathe in, breathe out, like do whatever you need to do. And now, hot take number 3. Sometimes the thing hurting your mental health is the deadline you're avoiding. I know, That one hurts. But be honest, guys. How many times have you spent 3 days stressing about an assignment that would have taken 1 hour to complete? I have been there too, especially in my favorite year, first year. But I feel that if I stress a lot about deadlines when it comes to assignments that literally take me 5 minutes, I might as well get it done. I might as well get it done once the assignment is assigned. Or if I do need to wait for specific instructions, then I would wait. Other than that, I would try to get it done as soon as possible. But that's just me nowadays. However, in first year, I would worry about it 20 minutes before the deadline. So, guys, just do not follow my first year self. Like I said, I would yap for an entire episode when it comes to my first year experiences. Now for our fourth hot take. Rest is productive. And if taking breaks helps you come back stronger, more focused and more energized, then that break wasn't wasted time. Because think about it. When you're resting, you're basically giving your brain the time to function properly once you wake up. Because if you keep overworking it, it's like a machine. It's going to blow up somehow. Whether it becomes like mood swings, whether you get overly stressed and you lash out at somebody, taking rest is very important. I can't stress that enough. Rest whenever you need to, and don't overwork yourself, because once you overwork yourself, you won't even know what's happening. Stress will come over you like a shadow. It won't wait. It'll just be there. Like a snap. Anyways, final hot take. Pulling an all-nighter should not be considered impressive. And congratulations, you completed the assignment. Now you're running on 2 hours of sleep and pure caffeine. Was that really worth it? Think about that for a second. Now, although I am the procrastination queen, I also did not like myself afterwards because of what I've been through. Because my sleep is gone. My caffeine levels, above the roof. They're above the roof. They're going into space at this point. And not only that, my mental health then deteriorated from there because I started becoming more stressed and burnout was just around the corner. So I say, only pull an all-nighter if it's very, 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 very necessary. If you don't feel like pulling an all-nighter, if you don't think that's necessary, then don't do it. Don't do it. Try to avoid it as much as possible. Now, before we get to the final verdict, we have a story from one of our listeners, and I'm just going to go over that very briefly. So, this listener, we'll call her Rebecca. She had 3 major assignments due during the same week as a part-time job schedule that was much busier than normal. She kept telling herself, I could handle everything, but eventually she started feeling exhausted all the time. She wasn't sleeping properly, she couldn't focus, and she felt guilty whenever she wasn't working. One night, she finally decided to speak with her teacher and explain what was happening. They gave her a short extension, and she used that time to catch up on sleep and organize the workload. The assignment still got finished, but she learned that asking for help is sometimes better than silently struggling. And honestly, I think that's something a lot of people need to hear. Sometimes we treat asking for help like it's a weakness, when in reality, it can be one of the smartest decisions you could ever make. Now, for my final verdict, mental health or deadlines. Well, I don't think it's actually mental health versus deadlines. I think it should be mental health and deadlines. Because completely ignoring your responsibilities can create more stress. But completely ignoring your well-being can create burnout. Now, it works like a scale. Neither extreme works. Your mental health and your responsibilities matter. The goal isn't choosing one over the other. The goal is learning how to manage both in a way that's sustainable. Take breaks when you need them. Ask for help when you're overwhelmed. Communicate when possible. But remember that future you will appreciate the work you get done today. Balance is the real answer. Not burnout, not avoidance, balance. And that's today's debate, besties. And if you had to choose, what side are you most likely on? Are you like me, where you go 50-50? Or would you go mental health or deadlines first? Or, you know what? Just let me know what you think in the comments. And I'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye, besties.